10 years after arriving in Lagos with nothing but 23,000 naira and each other, Kayamaka and Chukwudi stood in front of their newly purchased home in Lekki Phase 1, one of Lagos's most prestigious neighborhoods. "Are you sure about this?" Kayamaka asked, looking at the beautiful four-bedroom detached house with a garden, swimming pool, and garage that could fit 3 cars. "We can afford it," Chukwudi said, squeezing her hand. "The business is doing well, very well." And it was true. Chukwudi Electronics had grown from a single repair shop to a chain of 5 stores across Lagos, selling and repairing electronics, employing 23 people. Last year alone, the business had made 15 million naira in profit. Kayamaka's Kayama's Early Learning Center had expanded even more. She now ran 3 branches across Lagos with a total of 150 children enrolled and 15 teachers on staff. Parents waited months to get their children admitted because of the center's reputation for excellence. The business brought in 10 million naira annually. Together, they'd built an empire from absolutely nothing. Their son Chibuzo, now 10 years old, attended one of Lagos's best private schools. He was top of his class, polite, intelligent, kind, everything they'd hoped for. He had his mother's love for mathematics and his father's aptitude for understanding how things worked. "Daddy, when can I start helping at the shop?" Chibuzo asked that evening as they moved into their new home. Chukwudi laughed. "When you're older. For now, focus on your studies. But I want to learn what you do. You always say education is important, but you also say practical skills matter too." Kayamaka and Chukwudi exchanged proud glances. Their son had inherited the best of both of them, intelligence and determination. That night, after Chibuzo went to bed in his new room, his own room with his own bathroom and a study desk, Kayamaka and Chukwudi sat on their balcony overlooking their property. "Do you ever think about them?" Kayamaka asked quietly. She didn't need to specify who them was. Chukwudi knew she meant their families. "Sometimes," he admitted. "I wonder if my father ever regrets what he did. If your mother ever thinks about her daughter and grandson she's never met." "The lawyer's card is still in my drawer," Kayamaka said. "The one who came 5 years ago with their contact information. Are you thinking of reaching out?" "I don't know. Part of me wants Chibuzo to know his grandparents. But another part of me," her voice hardened, "another part of me remembers sleeping on a mat on a concrete floor while pregnant, selling pure water in traffic, having no money for the hospital when our son was born. And where were they? What was their family love then?" Chukwudi took her hand. "We don't owe them anything. We've built this without them. If we never speak to them again, we'd be justified. I know, but I keep thinking, what if something happens to them? What if they die and we never got closure? That's their problem, not ours. They chose to cut us off. They can live with that choice." But even as he said it, Chukwudi couldn't deny that sometimes he wondered about his mother, the woman who'd been silenced by Chief Ease when she tried to defend him. Did she think about him? About her grandson she'd never met? The next morning, as Chukwudi arrived at his main shop on Awolowo Road, his manager greeted him with exciting news. "Oga, we've been approached by a major supplier. They want to make us their exclusive distributor for Lagos. This could double our revenue." Chukwudi reviewed the proposal. It was legitimate and incredibly lucrative. If he accepted, Chukwudi Electronics would become one of the major players in Lagos's electronics market. "Set up a meeting," he told his manager. "Let's do this." Meanwhile, Kayamaka was dealing with her own expansion opportunity. A property developer wanted to partner with her to build a state-of-the-art early learning center in Victoria Island, Lagos's most expensive area. The wealthy families there were desperate for quality education for their young children. "The initial investment is 5 million naira, the developer explained. "But within 2 years, you make that back 3 times over. The Victoria Island market pays premium prices for premium services." Kayamaka knew it was a smart business move. She had the money, she had the expertise, but it would require a lot of her time. "Let me discuss it with my husband," she said. "I'll give you an answer next week." That evening, they discussed both opportunities over dinner with Chibuzo. "You're both growing so fast," Chibuzo said, his face proud. Mummy, Daddy, you're like superheroes. You started with nothing and built all this. Not superheroes, Kayamika corrected gently. Just two people who refused to give up, who worked hard, who supported each other, and who loved each other, Chikwudi added, smiling at his wife, even when the whole world was against us. Why was the world against you? Chibuzo asked. He was 10 now, old enough to understand more. Kayamika and Chikwudi looked at each other. They'd told Chibuzo an edited version of their story, that they'd faced challenges when they were young, that some people hadn't approved of their relationship, that they'd had to work hard to succeed. But they hadn't told him everything. About the public humiliation, about being disowned, about nearly starving, about the families who'd turned their backs. When you're older, Kayamika said, we'll tell you the full story. But the important thing is, we made it, we survived, and we built this life for you. I'm proud of you, Chibuzo said simply. Both of you. Those words from their son meant more than all the money they'd earned, all the success they'd achieved. They'd built more than a business empire. They'd built a family, a real family, based on love and mutual support, not blood obligation, and that they both knew was worth more than anything. But their peace was about to be shattered, because back in their home villages, the families who'd rejected them were facing their own crises. And soon, very soon, they would come calling. Welcome back to Part 2. If you missed Part 1, go watch it first. They went from nothing to building an empire, but now their families who abandoned them want back in their lives. Like this video and subscribe to African Tales by Zion. Comment. Do you think they should forgive their families? Let's see what happens. Turn on notifications. In the village of Yamuse, River State, Chief E sat in his compound, looking at the decay around him. The once grand family house now had cracks in the walls. The roof leaked. The compound that used to buzz with activity and respect was nearly empty. At 75 years old, Chief Ease was no longer the powerful man he'd once been. It had started slowly, a bad investment here, a failed business venture there. Then his eldest son, who'd been managing the family's palm oil business, had embezzled most of the funds and disappeared. Chief Ease had used his savings to cover the losses, but it wasn't enough. His other children had their own families to care for and couldn't help. The respect he'd once commanded in the village had diminished. People no longer came to him for advice or leadership. He was just an old man watching his legacy crumble. And every day, he thought about the son he'd disowned 10 years ago. Chikwudi, his youngest son, the one who'd been brilliant, hardworking, full of potential, the one he'd cast out for bringing shame to the family. Chief Ease had heard to the grapevine about Chikwidi's success in Lagos, how he owned multiple electronics shops, how he lived in Lekki, how he drove expensive cars and sent his son to the best schools. The irony was bitter. The son he'd disowned for being weak and foolish had become more successful than all his other children combined. Papa, we need money for Mama's hospital bill, his daughter Dee said, entering the sitting room. The doctor says if we don't pay the 200,000 naira for her surgery, she could die. Chief Ease's wife had been sick for months. Diabetes complications that required expensive treatment. He'd already sold most of his property to pay for her care, but now he had nothing left. I don't have it, he said quietly. Then what do we do? Let Mama die. Chief Ease looked at his daughter, seeing the accusation in her eyes. This was his fault. His pride, his stubbornness, his anger had driven away the one son who might have helped him now. There might be someone who can help, he said slowly, but I don't know if he'll agree. Who? Your brother, Chikwudi. Adi's eyes widened. The one you disowned? Papa, you haven't spoken to him in 10 years. You told everyone he was dead to you. I know what I said, but he's doing well in Lagos. Very well. Maybe he would help his mother, even if he hates me. Meanwhile, in Port Harcourt, Kayamika's mother sat in her small flat, crying over a stack of bills she couldn't pay. After Kayamika had left, Mama's life had fallen apart. She depended heavily on the money Kayamika used to send home from her teaching salary. Without it, she'd struggled. Then her small provision shop had failed. Then she gotten sick and couldn't work. Her medical bills had piled up. Now she was 2 months behind on rent, and the landlord was threatening to evict her. She'd reached out to her relatives for help, but they'd all refused. You abandoned your daughter when she needed you, they'd said. Now you want help? Every night, Mama prayed for forgiveness. She thought about Kayamika, her brilliant, kind daughter who she rejected out of shame and fear of Chief Ease's anger. She'd heard through old colleagues that Kayamika was running successful schools in Lagos, that she was married properly now to Chikwudi, that they had a son, that they were doing well. Mama had wanted to reach out so many times, but shame had stopped her. How could she face the daughter she'd abandoned? What could she say? But now, facing eviction and with nowhere else to turn, she had no choice. She picked up her phone and called the only number she had. Kayamika's old colleague who'd told her about her daughter's success. Please, Mama begged. I need to find my daughter. Can you help me? Back in Yumu's village, the situation in Chief Ease's compound got worse. His wife's condition deteriorated. The hospital refused to continue treatment without payment. We need that money by tomorrow, the doctor said, or we'll have to discharge her, which meant she would die at home, in pain, without proper care. Chief Ease made a decision. He swallowed his pride and called the lawyer he'd hired years ago to find Chikwudi. Barrister Okafor, I need your help again, he said. I need to contact my son. The one in Lagos. The one you disowned? Yes, that one. Why should he help you? After what you did to him. Because his mother is dying, and he loved her. Please, I'm begging you. Just get me his contact information. The lawyer was silent for a moment. Then, I'll see what I can do. 3 days later, both Chief Ease and Mama Kayamika's mother had obtained Chikwudi and Kayamika's phone numbers and address in Lagos. They both sat with their phones, staring at the numbers, wondering if their children would even answer, wondering if they deserved forgiveness after abandoning them 10 years ago. But desperation overcame shame. Chief Ease called first. The phone rang 3 times before a man's voice answered. Hello, Chikwudi? Chief Ease's voice cracked. Is that you? There was a long pause. Then who is this? It's your father. Please, don't hang up. I need to talk to you. Another pause. Then Chikwudi said coldly, You're not my father. My father disowned me 10 years ago. Said I was dead to him. So why are you calling a dead man? Chikwudi, please. Your mother is dying. She needs surgery, and I don't have the money. I know I don't deserve to ask, but she's your mother. She always loved you. Please. The line went quiet. Chief Ease thought Chikwudi had hung up. Then he heard his son's voice, tight with emotion. I'll call you back. The line went dead. Chief Ease sat in his compound, tears streaming down his face. He'd finally spoken to his son after 10 years, and he'd been forced to beg. Meanwhile, Kayamika received a text message from an unknown number. My daughter, this is your mother. Please, I need to see you. I'm sorry for everything. Please forgive me. I'm in trouble, and I have nowhere else to turn. Please respond. I love you. Kayamika stared at the message for a long time, her hands shaking. 10 years. 10 years of silence. And now a text message asking for help. She showed it to Chikwudi, who just told her about his father's call. They sat together in their beautiful Lekki home, looking at these messages from the families who'd abandoned them in their darkest hour. What do we do? Kayamika asked. I don't know, Chikwudi admitted. Part of me wants to ignore them. Let them feel what we felt. Abandoned, alone, desperate. But they're still our parents, Kayamika said. And they're suffering. So were we. And they didn't care. That's true. But if we turn our backs on them now, aren't we becoming just like them? They sat in silence, wrestling with the question that had no easy answer. Do you help the people who hurt you when they come asking for mercy? Oh, wow. So their families only reached out because they need money. After 10 years of silence, if this is making you angry, smash that like button and subscribe to AfricanTales by Zion. Drop a comment. Should Kayamika and Chikwudi help them? Or turn their backs like their families did? Next chapter shows what they decide and it's powerful. Share this video. Turn on notifications. Kayamaka and Chukwudi didn't sleep that night. They lay in their comfortable king-size bed in their beautiful home, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with the weight of the decision before them. My father said my mother is dying. Chukwudi said quietly that she needs surgery and he has no money. My mother says she's about to be evicted, that she has no one to help her. Do you believe them? I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe they're exaggerating to get her sympathy. Chukwudi turned to face her. What does your heart tell you to do? Kayamaka was quiet for a long moment. My heart says two things. It says they abandoned you when you needed them. Let them suffer. But it also says they're still your mother, the woman who gave birth to you and raised you. My heart says the same things, Chukwudi admitted. I'm angry. So angry at my father for what he did to us, for making those years so much harder than they needed to be, for forcing the whole community to reject us. But I keep thinking about my mother. She tried to defend me that day, remember? My father silenced her. She wanted to help, but she was afraid of him. And now she's dying and he's begging for help. If I don't help and she dies, I'll have to live with that. So you want to help? I don't want to, but I think I have to. Not for him. For her. And maybe for me. So I don't become the kind of person who lets someone die out of spite. Kayamaka nodded. I've been thinking the same thing about my mother. She hurt me terribly, but she's still my mother. And if I have the power to help her and I don't, what does that make me? They were quiet for a moment. Then Chukwudi said, but if we help them, it has to be on our terms. They don't get to waltz back into our lives like nothing happened. They don't get to pretend the last 10 years didn't exist. Agreed, Kayamaka said. If we do this, they need to understand that we're not the same desperate young people they abandoned. We're not begging for their approval or forgiveness. We're choosing to help despite what they did. The next morning, Chukwudi called his father back. I'll pay for the surgery, he said without preamble. Send me the hospital details and the bill. I'll transfer the money directly to the hospital. Thank you, Chief E said, his voice breaking. Thank you, my son. Can I come to Lagos to see you? To thank you properly? No, Chukwudi said firmly. I'm doing this for my mother, not for you. You're not welcome in my home or my life. Once my mother is better, we'll discuss whether she can visit. But you made your choice 10 years ago. Live with it. Chukwudi, please. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I'm sorry. You were sorry 10 years ago when we were sleeping on floors and going hungry? You were sorry when your grandson was born in a hospital we couldn't afford? You were sorry when we were struggling every day just to survive? I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't care. You cared more about your pride and your reputation than about your own son. That's on you. Chukwudi hung up. His hands were shaking. Kayamaka came and held them. That was hard, she said, but necessary. He needed to hear it. Kayamaka took a deep breath. My turn. She called her mother. Mama, it's me, Kayamaka. Her mother burst into tears on the other end. My daughter. Oh, my daughter. Thank God. I thought you'd never speak to me again. I almost didn't, Kayamaka said honestly. But I'm calling because I got your message. You said you're in trouble? Mom explained everything. The failed business, the medical bills, the impending eviction, the desperate situation she was in. I'm so sorry, Mama cried. I know I don't deserve your help. I know I failed you when you needed me. I was weak. I was afraid of Chief Ease and what the community would say. But I regret it every day. Every single day. Kayamaka closed her eyes. Mama, I'll help you. I'll pay your rent and clear your medical bills. But there are conditions. Anything, I'll do anything. First, you need to understand that I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not your little girl who needs your approval. I'm a successful businesswoman, a wife, a mother. I built a life without you. I know, I heard, and I'm so proud of you. Second, Kayamaka continued, if you want to be part of our lives, my husband's, and our sons, you need to apologize properly, not just to me, But to Chukwudi, you stood by while his father destroyed us. You let the community shame us. That needs to be acknowledged. I will. I promise. Can I come to Lagos? Can I meet my grandson? Kayamika hesitated. Then, not yet. First, let's handle your immediate problems. Then we'll see about visits. Thank you, my daughter. Thank you so much. After she hung up, Kayamika sat down, emotionally exhausted. How do you feel? Chukwudi asked. Drained, angry, sad, relieved, all at once. That afternoon, they made the transfers. 200,000 naira to the hospital for Chukwudi's mother's surgery. 150,000 naira to clear Kayamika's mother's debts and rent. It was money they could easily afford. Their businesses were making millions, but it still felt complicated. Like they were rewarding the people who'd hurt them. Are we doing the right thing? Kayamika asked. I don't know if it's right or wrong. Chukwudi said, but it's what we've chosen to do. And we did it on our terms, with our boundaries clear. That evening, they sat Chibuzo down and told him the truth. All of it, about how they'd met, about the pregnancy, about being fired and disowned, about the suffering in Lagos, about the families who'd rejected them, and about the recent contact. Chibuzo listened to everything, his young face serious. When they finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then he said, So my grandparents didn't want me? It wasn't about you, baby, Kayamika said. They didn't even know you yet. They were angry at us for breaking society's rules. But they made you suffer. They made you homeless and hungry. And now they want your help. Yes. And you're going to help them anyway? Yes. Why? Chukwudi knelt down to his son's level. Because, Chibuzo, we don't want to be people who punish others for being weak or making mistakes. Yes, they hurt us badly. Yes, they should have been there for us. But we're choosing to be better than our pain. We're choosing mercy over revenge. Even though they don't deserve it? Especially because they don't deserve it. That's what makes it mercy. Chibuzo thought about this. Then can I meet them? Maybe. Someday. If they prove they've really changed. But not yet. Okay. Chibuzo hugged both his parents. I'm proud of you for being strong enough to forgive. We haven't forgiven them yet. Kayamika said honestly. We're just helping them. Forgiveness might take longer. That's okay, Chibuzo said wisely. My teacher says forgiveness is a journey, not a destination. After Chibuzo went to bed, Kayamika and Chukwudi received updates. Chief E sent a text. The surgery was successful. Your mother is in recovery. She's asking for you. Please come visit. Mama sent a text. I got the money. Thank you, my daughter. I'm going to pay everything tomorrow. Please let me see you. I need to apologize face to face. What now? Kayamika asked. Now. Chukwudi said, we wait. We see if their gratitude lasts. If they really want to make amends or if they just wanted our money. And then we decide how much of our lives to let them back into. And if they disappoint us again, then we'll know we gave them a chance. That we were the bigger people. And we can walk away with no regrets. They'd made their choice. They'd helped their families despite everything. Now they would see if that mercy would be repaid with genuine change, or if they'd just been used by the people who'd abandoned them. Only time would tell. Wow, they actually helped their families, even after everything. If this is touching your heart, like this video and subscribe to African Tales by Zion. Comment. Are they being too forgiving or is this the right thing to do? Next chapter shows whether their families are truly sorry or just using them. You won't want to miss this. Share with everyone. Turn on notifications. 2 weeks after the surgery and bill payments, Kayamika and Chukwudi agreed to visits, but with conditions. They come to us, Chukwudi said, to Lagos, to our home. They see what we built without them. And they come separately, not together. I'm not ready to deal with my father and your mother in the same space. Agreed, Kayamika said. My mother first, then your mother. Your father, we'll see. Mama Kayamika arrived on a Saturday morning, carrying a small bag and looking much older than Kayamika remembered. At 55, she looked 70, Stress and hardship had aged her. When Kayamika opened the door of their Lekki home, Mama stopped and stared. "This is your house?" "Yes, Mama." Mama looked around at the beautiful neighborhood. The big house, the cars in the driveway. Tears filled her eyes. "You did all this? You and Chikwudi?" "Yes, we built it from nothing." "I'm so sorry," Mama whispered. "I'm so sorry I wasn't there to see it." They sat in the living room, Kayamika and Chikwudi on one sofa, Mama on another, the space between them physical and emotional. "Thank you for agreeing to see me," Mama began. "And thank you for helping me. I don't deserve it after what I did." "No, you don't," Kayamika said bluntly. "You abandoned me when I needed you most. You chose fear over your own daughter. I know. There's no excuse. I was afraid of Chief Ease, afraid of what people would say, afraid of losing my place in the community. But I should have been more afraid of losing you. Do you have any idea what we went through?" Kayamika's voice broke. "Do you know that I sold pure water in traffic while 8 months pregnant? That we slept on floors? That our son was born in a hospital we couldn't afford, and they wouldn't let us leave until we paid?" Mama was crying now. "I didn't know. I should have checked on you. I should have found you. You knew where we were. You just didn't care enough to come. I was ashamed. I was afraid you'd turn me away." "So you turned me away first?" Kayamika stood up, unable to sit still. "You know what the worst part was? It wasn't the poverty or the suffering. It was knowing that my own mother chose pride over me. That hurt more than anything." Chikwudi squeezed Kayamika's hand as she sat back down. Mama turned to him. "And you, Chikwudi, I owe you an apology, too. I stood by while they said terrible things about you. I let them paint you as someone who ruined my daughter's life when the truth is, you saved her. You stood by her when no one else did, including me." "Yes, I did," Chikwudi said quietly, "because I loved her, and I still do. We built this life together, without any help from our families. I can see that, and I'm ashamed it took me 10 years and my own desperation to reach out. I should have come looking for you years ago." There was a sound from the stairs. Chibuzo, who'd been told to stay in his room, had crept down to listen. "Chibuzo, come here," Kayamika called. The 10-year-old walked into the living room, looking curiously at the elderly woman who was his grandmother. "Mama, this is your grandson." Chibuzo, this is my mother, your grandmother." Mama looked at the boy, tall for his age, intelligent eyes, polite bearing, and broke down completely. "He's beautiful. He's so beautiful. May I?" She looked at Kayamika. "May I hug him?" Kayamika nodded. Mama hugged her grandson for the first time, crying, "I'm so sorry I wasn't there when you were born. I'm so sorry I missed 10 years of your life." Chibuzo, mature beyond his years, said, "It's okay, grandmother. My parents taught me that people make mistakes. The important thing is whether they try to fix them." They spent the day together. Mama saw Kayamika's learning centers, met some of the children, saw the success her daughter had built. She saw Chikwidi's electronics shops, met his employees, saw the respect he commanded, and she saw their family, loving, strong, successful, everything they'd become despite being abandoned. By evening, as Mama prepared to leave, she said, "I don't expect you to forgive me immediately. I don't expect to just jump back into your lives as if nothing happened. But I want you to know I'm proud of you, both of you. You're better people than I was. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make up for failing you." "We'll see," Kayamika said. "You can visit sometimes. Get to know your grandson. But trust, that has to be rebuilt slowly. I understand. Thank you for this chance." After Mama left, Kayamika felt emotionally drained but somehow lighter. "That was hard," she told Chikwudi, "but necessary." And she seems genuinely sorry. Time will tell if it's real. The next week, Chikwidi's mother visited. Unlike his father's phone call, his mother had sent a message saying, "My son, I've missed you every day for 10 years. The surgery went well, and I'm recovering. Please, let me see you and meet my grandson. I need to tell you I'm sorry." When Mama Ease arrived, She was still weak from surgery, but insisted on coming. She took one look at Chikwudi and burst into tears. "My son, my boy, look at you. Look at what you've become." Chikwudi found himself hugging his mother tightly, 10 years of pain and longing flooding out. "Mama, I missed you. I missed you too. Every single day. Your father wouldn't let me contact you, but I thought about you constantly, prayed for you, hoped you were okay. We weren't okay for a long time. We suffered a lot. I know, and I'm sorry I couldn't help you. Your father, he controlled everything, but I should have been braver. I should have defied him and found you." She turned to Kayamika. "My daughter, because that's what you are now. My daughter. Thank you for standing by my son. Thank you for building this life with him." "We built it together," Kayamika said, warming to this woman who seemed genuinely remorseful. Then Mama Ease met Chibuzo, and again there were tears. He looks like Chikwudi did at this age. Same intelligent eyes. Same kind smile. They spent hours together, Mama Ease asking about everything, their struggles, their success, their business, their family. She listened without judgment, only sorrow at what they'd endured. "Your father is ashamed," she said quietly. "He won't admit it, but I see it. He knows he was wrong." "Then he should say it himself," Chikwudi said. "He's too proud, but I think he would like to see you too. And Chibuzo, his only grandson. I'm not ready for that yet, Mama. Maybe someday, but not yet. I understand. Take your time. I'm just grateful for today." Over the next few months, both mothers visited regularly. They helped with Chibuzo, attended his school events, slowly rebuilding relationships with their children. And slowly, very slowly, Kayamika and Chikwudi began to trust again. Not completely, not blindly, but enough to let their mothers back into their lives in limited ways. As for Chief Ease, he remained in his village, too proud to reach out properly, too ashamed to face the son he'd wronged. But that story wasn't over yet. The mothers are back in their lives. But where is Chief Ease? Is he still too proud to apologize? If you're invested in this story, smash that like button and subscribe to African Tales by Zion. Comment, should Chikwudi give his father a chance? Next chapter is the final chapter and brings everything full circle. Share this video. Turn on notifications for the beautiful ending. 1 year after the initial contact, Kayamika and Chikwudi's lives had found a new normal. Both mothers visited regularly, had built relationships with Chibuzo, and were slowly earning back trust through consistent presence and genuine remorse. But there was still unfinished business. Chief Ease, the proud old man, had never directly reached out to Chikwudi after that first phone call. He'd sent messages through his wife, sent gifts through her, but never came himself or called again. He's ashamed. Mama Ease explained during one visit. He knows he was terribly wrong, but he doesn't know how to say it. "Then let him figure out," Chikwudi said. "I'm not going to make it easy for him." But then something happened that changed everything. Chikwudi received a call from his brother, Emeka, the one who'd stolen from the family business years ago. He'd been living abroad, avoiding consequences. "Chikwudi, it's Emeka. Before you hang up, please listen. Papa is very sick. He had a stroke. The doctors say he might not make it." Chikwudi's first instinct was to hang up, but something stopped him. "How sick?" "Very. He can't speak properly. Can't walk. The doctors say the next few days are critical. He keeps trying to say your name. I think he wants to see you before." Emeka didn't finish the sentence, but Chikwudi understood. His father was dying. That night, he told Kayamika. "Do you want to go?" she asked. "I don't know. Part of me says he doesn't deserve it. He never apologized, never admitted he was wrong. But if he dies and you don't go, will you regret it?" Chikwudi thought about it. "Maybe. Yes. Probably." "Then go. Not for him. For you. So you have no regrets." 2 days later, Chikwudi, Kayamika, and Chibuzo drove to Yumu's village. It was Chikwudi's first time back in 11 years. The compound looked worse than he'd imagined. Chief Ease's once grand house was falling apart. The respect and prosperity were gone. Inside, in a small bedroom, Chief Ease lay in bed, looking frail and old. When he saw Chukudi, tears rolled down his face. "My son," he managed to say, his speech slurred from the stroke. Chukudi stood at the foot of the bed, his emotions warring inside him. This was the man who'd disowned him, who'd made his life hell, who'd refused to help when they were desperate. But this was also his father, and he was dying. "I'm here, Papa," Chukudi said quietly. Chief Ease tried to speak, struggling with the words. Finally, he managed, "Sorry, so sorry. I know you are now. But where were you 10 years ago, when we were sleeping on floors? When Kayamika was selling water in traffic while pregnant? When your grandson was born and we had no money?" Chief Ease's tears flowed faster. "Wrong. I was wrong. Pride, foolish pride." Chukudi felt his own tears coming. "You almost destroyed us. You made us homeless. You turned the whole community against us. Do you know what that felt like? Sorry, please forgive." Chibuzo, who'd been standing quietly, stepped forward. "Grandfather, I'm Chibuzo, your grandson." Chief Ease looked at the boy, tall, intelligent, well-dressed, confident. Everything his grandson could have been even without his support. His face crumpled. "Beautiful, you're beautiful. Daddy says you made mistakes." Chibuzo said, "But that people deserve a chance to make things right. Is that what you're trying to do?" Chief Ease nodded, unable to speak through his crying. Chukudi took a deep breath. He thought about all the years of anger, all the pain, all the suffering. He thought about the principle of the thing, that his father didn't deserve forgiveness. But he also thought about the security guard who'd given him 5,000 naira when he'd had nothing, about the strangers who'd shown them kindness when their own family wouldn't, about the choice between being right and being free. "Papa," Chukudi said, sitting on the edge of the bed, "what you did was terrible. It was cruel and wrong, and it hurt us in ways you can't imagine. I will never forget that. But," he paused, "but I don't want to carry this anger for the rest of my life. So I'm going to forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace." Chief Ease gripped his hand weakly. Thank you. Kayamika stepped forward. "Chief Ease, you commanded my mother and everyone else to abandon us. You made our lives unbearably hard. But I'm also choosing to forgive you, because holding grudges only hurts us, not you." Over the next few days, as Chief Ease slowly recovered from the stroke, the family began to heal. Not completely, not perfectly, but slowly. Chukwudi's siblings, who'd been absent for years, suddenly appeared when they heard he'd come. But their interest in him increased significantly when they saw his car, his clothes, his obvious wealth. "Brother, we should reconnect," his oldest brother said. "Families should stick together. Where were you when I needed family?" Chukwudi asked coldly. "You all stood by while Papa destroyed me. None of you spoke up. None of you helped. So don't talk to me about family now." But his mother pulled him aside. "They were afraid of your father, just like I was. They made mistakes, but they're still your brothers and sisters. They made choices, Mama. We all did. I chose love and was punished for it. They chose safety and did nothing. Those choices have consequences." Still, for his mother's sake, Chukwudi was civil to his siblings. But he made it clear they were family in name only. His real family was Kayamika and Chibuzo, and now his mother, and Kayamika's mother. Chief Ease made a partial recovery. He couldn't walk well, and his speech remained slurred, but he survived. 1 month after that first visit, he asked to visit Chukwudi's home in Lagos. With Mama Ease's encouragement, Chukwudi agreed. When Chief Ease saw the house in Lekki, the cars, the businesses, the respect Chukwudi commanded, he broke down crying again. "You did this without me," he said. "Yes, Papa, we did, because you taught us that we couldn't rely on anyone but ourselves. I was wrong. So proud. So stupid. Yes, you were. But we survived anyway. We thrived. And now you get to see what you almost destroyed." Over dinner that evening, Chief Ease watched Chukwudi and Kayamika interact with Chibuzo, the love, the respect, the healthy family dynamic. He saw what they'd built, not just in material wealth, but in emotional richness. You have more than I ever did, Chief Ease said. Real family. Real love. Not pride. Yes, Chakotay said. We learned what matters. The hard way. But we learned. 6 months later, both families had reached a new understanding. The mothers were deeply involved in Chibuzo's life. Chief Ease visited occasionally, humble and grateful for any time he was given. But the real moment of redemption came at Chibuzo's 12th birthday party. Chakotay and Kayamaka threw a big celebration, inviting everyone. Employees from their businesses, children from the learning center, neighbors, friends. And both families were there. Chief Ease, Mama Kayamaka, even some Chakotay's siblings who made genuine efforts to reconnect. During the party, Chakotay stood up to make a speech. 11 years ago, he said, Kayamaka and I lost everything. Our careers, our families, our dignity. We came to Lagos with 23,000 naira and no plan except to survive. We slept on floors. We went hungry. We suffered in ways that I hope our son never has to experience. Everyone was quiet, listening. But through that suffering, we learned something invaluable. We learned that real family isn't just blood. It's the people who stand by you when everything falls apart. It's the security guard who gave us his week's salary when we had nothing. It's the landlords who gave us a chance when everyone else rejected us. It's the customers who believed in our businesses when we were just starting out. He looked at his parents. And yes, it's also about forgiveness, about giving people a chance to make amends, even when they don't deserve it. Not for them, but for ourselves. Because carrying anger and bitterness only hurts us. Kayamaka stood beside him. We're not going to pretend that the past didn't happen, that we weren't hurt, that everything is suddenly perfect. But we're choosing to move forward, to give our son the gift of knowing his grandparents, to model forgiveness and grace. Chief E stood up, struggling with his cane. I failed my son. I was cruel, proud, foolish. He succeeded despite me, not because of me. I will spend my remaining years trying to make up for that and telling anyone who will listen that I was wrong. Mama Kayamaka stood too. I failed my daughter when she needed me most. I chose fear over love. I can never undo that, but I can be here now. And I can tell her every day that I'm sorry and that I'm proud of who she became. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Chibuzo, the center of all this, stood between his parents, holding both their hands. Mummy and Daddy taught me that people can make mistakes and still deserve a chance to be better, he said in his clear young voice. My grandparents made mistakes, big ones, but they're trying to fix them, and that's what matters. The party continued, but something had shifted. Healing, real healing, had begun. 3 years later, Chakotay Electronics had expanded to 15 locations across Nigeria. Kayamaka's learning centers had grown to 8 branches with over 500 children enrolled. They'd written a book together. From Nothing to Everything, a love story which became a bestseller, inspiring countless people facing impossible odds. Chibuzo, now 15, was excelling in school and helping in both family businesses. He wanted to study business and engineering, a combination of both his parents' strengths. Chief Ease, now healthier but permanently humbled, spent his days telling anyone who'd listen about his son's success and his own failures. He'd become an advocate against pride and family rejection, speaking at community gatherings about the importance of supporting children even when they make unconventional choices. Mama Kayamaka had become an integral part of the Learning Center, helping with administration and being the grandmother figure to hundreds of children. Mama E spent half the year in Lagos with her son's family, the other half in the village, happy to finally have a relationship with her son that she'd always wanted. One evening, as Kayamaka and Chakotay sat on their balcony watching the Lagos sunset, Kayamaka said, "Do you ever regret it? Choosing me over everything else." Chakotay took her hand. "Never. Not once. You were worth losing everything for, and we proved that we could rebuild. That love and determination are enough. We saved our families in the end." Kayamaka reflected. Financially, emotionally, even though they didn't save us. That's because we're better than our pain. We chose mercy over revenge. And I think that's why we really won. Do you think Chibuzo understands all this? The real lesson? I think he does. We didn't just teach him about business or success. We taught him about resilience, forgiveness, and standing by the people you love even when the whole world is against you. From inside the house, they could hear Chibuzo playing with his grandmothers, all of them laughing together. We did it. Kayamika said softly, "We survived. We succeeded. We forgave. We built something beautiful from absolutely nothing." "Yes," Chikwudi agreed. "And we did it together. Always together." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set on another day in a life they'd built, a life that started with scandal and rejection, but had become a testimony of love, resilience, and the power of forgiveness. Their story wasn't about the teacher and the student anymore. It was about two people who'd loved each other enough to risk everything, who'd been strong enough to survive anything, and who'd been wise enough to forgive even when forgiveness seemed impossible. And in the end, that made all the difference. The end. What an incredible ending. They built an empire, saved their families, and taught everyone about forgiveness and resilience. If you love this complete story, smash that like button and subscribe to African Tales by Zion for more powerful African stories. Drop a comment. What's the biggest lesson you learned from Kayamika and Chikuti's story? Share this video with everyone who needs inspiration. We have more amazing stories coming, so hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching, and remember, true love, determination, and forgiveness can overcome anything. I'll see you in the next one.